In this video, I'm going to cover all the customizations that can be done with GraphPad. Not only the custom configurations based upon the configurable version of GraphPad, but also creating complete custom applications based upon the custom application. So to begin with, we're going to look at the Home Depot kitchen remodeling projects, and we've got the installer's kitchen design packet, all the measurements they have to capture, and as you can see, you've got all of the form fields that they need to use. For example, you've got the type of refrigerators, etc. You have the measurements of windows and doors, all the installation locations, etc. And at the end of it, you still have the capability of doing a dimensional sketch and actually adding pictures for the packet itself. But you could also, in addition, have custom libraries associated with this. And in this case, I'm going to look at the window measurements library. And so say, for example, you didn't have a rectangular window, you had a window with a curved top. You could have a custom form which actually has the dimensions that the user needs to capture in there. So for example, and we could actually move this wherever it needs to go within the drawing, and then you'd actually specify what sort of measurements they needed to capture and then put those measurements in. So you could have that for windows, you could have that for doors that have side panels, etc. Now all of that is just very simple configuration. So I just import the forms, create any sort of library entries. But in addition to that, you could actually create a complete custom application. And again, I'm going to look at Home Depot. And in this case, I'm looking at perhaps they would like to have a bespoke Home Depot application that they could give out free to the end users, or I should say to the consumers, and it would have all the Home Depot icons built into it. It could, for example, have their store location, so within a 50-mile radius, where all the Home Depot stores, and they could actually, get information about the store, or have like directions that take them to the nearest store, etc. And it could be restricted in lots of ways. So for example, they could have Home Depot products that are listed, etc. So in this case, if this was a free application that they were going to present to the users, most of the coding's already done. The configurations I've done in this case, putting in the icons, took a very limited amount of time, and they just have to make sure the qualities was acceptable. And in addition to that, come up with some sort of costing model. So it may be free to the public, but for each download, I would get some sort of fee associated with that. So that's another good model for creating applications. And as we get into completely bespoke applications, we can have things like custom calculations. So for example, if rather than just counting the number of entities you add, if you add a type of entity, say for example a scaffold, which is like a 4x8 scaffold, that is 3 tiers high, and you had some sort of parts list that was generated off of that, that could be easily done. However, that's going to be actual custom development, and so we'd have to figure out how to do that sort of work. But since you're really, the majority of the drawing engine and the calculations are already in the application, it's probably not going to be that much of a problem to actually create those sort of customizations. And lastly, go through some of the customers which have done this. So for example, if I go back to the configurable version, most of the applications I've created so far have been configurations. So for example, the City of New York Department of Transportation, their preliminary inspection forms are actually in GraphPad. So they have iPads for their inspectors. They have this customization, the configurable version installed, and then they download these inspection forms, and they also have their unique library. So they've got their symbols that they use when they do their inspections. As they add these icons into the system, it can count them, whatever they need it to do. In a similar fashion, another client that I have is CenTex Foundations. They're a foundation repair company. They actually had some, in addition to their form, they had some custom calculations that were performed. So if we look at their library, for example, actually let's go to their symbols. If they needed a evenly distributed number of symbols along the line, this was a calculation that they wanted to have performed. If we wait a second, it'll actually come up. It's taking a second. So they can actually put in the maximum distance between their peers, calculate. It would put the icons in the correct location. as well as maintain a count of those number of icons. So that was a relatively simple project as well. Again, it's based upon this complete package, which has a math package built into it along with a drawing capability. So a lot of this can be done with very little consulting time. And currently I'm actually looking for other companies that are interested in creating either custom applications or just configuring the application to meet their specific needs. So my contact information is on my website. Just feel free to contact me. We can discuss what your particular problem is and to see how easy it's going to be to actually configure or customize GraphPad to meet your needs. And that's my presentation. Thank you very much.